long day today. Stuff to do. Figured I'd take you along for the ride. Today's kind of a doctor day. And this is a very apropos day to be talking about doctor stuff because this is going to be a moment of some self-improvement as well. So let's sit you in here. There we go, nice and comfy. And let's get started. So we're heading out to the dentist first this morning. This is my my biannual checkup, and I have noticed a little bit of sensitivity in one of my back teeth, so I'm going to have the doctor check that. If we need to get a cavity filled, I will take care of it. Toothbrush. Well, everything checked out okay. No cavities so far. So, made my appointment for 6 months. So my PC's been having some issues with power. I hit the button and it just wouldn't power up. Sometimes I could unplug the PC and hold the power button down and then plug it back in and it would work, but that solution is working less and less now at this point. And after seeing my vlog last time I did troubleshooting on this machine, I gotta admit I'm just getting lazy. And I just figure I'd let somebody else deal with it while I deal with other things. Well, they said it's going to take about 10 days to look at because they're backed up, which isn't going to be a problem. I've still got my Mac and I've got a laptop, so I'm not really in that big of a hurry for it. So I've cleaned up and I'm heading off to my afternoon doctor's appointment. And let me explain the nature of this appointment. Now, as I've mentioned on my vlog before, back in November I decided I was going to make an effort to improve myself and do better for myself. And part of that meant that I was going to have to figure out what my psychological issues were with not being able to write. And that's not the kind of thing you can really do on your own. So I decided to see a counselor. Now that was a huge leap for me to do because I've had problems with, psychiatrists in the past. I had a psychiatrist that I saw for about a year and a half, and they dumped a lot of drugs on me that messed me up more than actually helped me. I needed someone to talk to, and they were just basically writing prescriptions for me. And I'm not knocking medication. If you need it, you should definitely take it. And a lot of people don't, and that's where they get into trouble. My problem at the time was sleep apnea, and once that was taken care of, a lot of my other problems went away. For me to step back and go, maybe I should see a counselor or a therapist, I was leery of it because I'm like, I don't need somebody else to look at me and write a bunch of prescriptions for stuff. I need someone to talk to. I need to be able to work out my issues. So I was looking for counselors, and I was assigned one who was not the let's write a bunch of prescription type. I mean, she was wanting to help me understand what was going on with me. And, you know, sometimes the universe just goes your way. And it certainly was in my case with Lynn, because Lynn happens, along with being a counselor, she's also a writer. She's a professional writer. She's published books. And so a lot of the things that I'm talking about, I don't have to, you know, stop and explain what I mean, because she knows exactly what's going on. And the emotional issues that writers go through, she understands better than anyone would, because, of course, she's a writer. And so when I say I'm having certain problems or I'm feeling a certain way, she not only sympathizes with me, she understands it, and in many cases went through the same things herself. And so she's the perfect she's the perfect person to talk to help me with my issues. And I've been seeing her for a while, and it's been very useful and very helpful and really enlightening, and I've been able to make a lot of progress. Now, part of that process is, you know, looking at some of the issues that I've had in the past, and there has been this one diagnosis that has been coming up over and over again in my life, which is ADHD. And I've always had issues with concentration and focusing any one thing. Through junior high and high school, I was always the person that kind of flipped from one hobby to another. I'd be interested in something and drop it and go to something else. And I mean, something that's carried on into my adulthood. And I can even remember in college when I had a psychology class and they talked about ADHD, I was like, wow, some of that stuff sounds really familiar. You know, maybe this is something that's going on with me. But then eventually I just forget about it, and I wouldn't pursue seeing if this was the issue. Part of it because I thought, well, all they're going to do is just give me speed. They're going to give me drugs to take care of it. And it's like, I don't want to take drugs. You know, I was for the longest time just really worried about, you know, that type of medication. And the other thing too is that, you know, it's just like, you know, it wasn't to a degree where I couldn't do anything. It's just I've had to compensate, you know, for different things. And just recently, I was watching a video by Toxic Tears. Her name is Kaya. She's a YouTuber and a really neat person. And she had talked about her recent diagnosis of ADHD. And she had felt for a long time that she had it, but the doctors where she lived didn't want to get her tested. And after just insisting, they finally tested her and found out, oh, guess what? She does have ADHD. And she talked about a lot of her symptoms, and once again, it's like, holy cow, I do the exact same thing. Now, I don't know if I do have ADHD or not. To find out that you have it takes an extensive test. It's not just they ask you for a couple symptoms and they sound similar, then they put you on a medication. No, there is a long and involved test that you have to take to see whether or not you have ADHD. And so I decided 53 years is long enough. So I called Lynn and I said, is there any people local that you know of that could give me this test? And she knew someone, and I made an appointment, and today I am going to take the ADHD test. Well, off we go. So they tested me for about 2.5 hours. It was pretty much an IQ test, cognitive function, and then they put me on this computer program where they flashed letters out in front of me, and I had to hit a space bar for every letter except for the X. It's going to be about 2 weeks before I have an appointment again, and they're going to go over my results, and we will take it from there. So now I'm just going home to relax.